business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the pod.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit, it's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal, every decision, every day to make a powerful impact on others. Today's guest is going to light you up. Boy, is he going to light you up. We're going to talk nonprofit today, and I love that. He's going to motivate you. You're going to be challenged, and more importantly, you're going to walk away with tools. He's actually got a free gift for all of you, so keep an eye out for that, to inspire action both in your life and guess what? In the lives of others. So before we dive in, here's your homework today. How are you going to serve yourself and others today? The key word is today. It doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game for anyone. So lean in. Let's take some notes. I got my pen here ready to go. Let's discover how servant leadership in business can create ripple effects that last far beyond the bottom line. Quick shout out to my sponsor, Epic Impact, the only universal emotionally resonant messaging framework that works anywhere for any audience. This 4-step system transformed how I pitch, post, and podcast. Engage, persuade, inspire, and close with clarity. I use it daily and it works. Grab your free trial at epicimpact.ai with promo code Steve to start inspiring action today. Quick shout out and a shout out to my guest today because he's adding to this. We just got named top 20 in small business marketing a couple months ago. Yeah, it's great. It's a great accolade, and he's smiling. I really appreciate it. I know what he's thinking, and that's great. But here's the more important thing. How many people are we impacting? Because of you, audience, and these great guests, if you're listening, guests, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's keep impacting people today and tomorrow and forever. With that being said, talk about impact with nonprofits. It's one of my passions of mine because they do so much good in the world. Let's bring on our guest, Robin. Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Steve, thank you so much for having me on the show. Totally pumped up. And I wanted to start by just congratulating you on that amazing news that you just shared. And I'm just happy now to be a part of the history of this amazing podcast.
I love it. Thank you so much. You know, my first question is, I'm passionate about, why are you passionate about nonprofits?
Well, I did an audit of my business a few years ago. I was sitting around looking at my client base and I was like, well, you know, all of these people that I'm, doing business with are either mission-driven organizations or nonprofit organizations. I had a few others like record labels, musicians, people who have won awards like Tony Award winners, stuff like that. But where the majority of my revenue was coming from and also where my heart was with those clients. So at that point, I decided to just lean all the way in to that, that unique customer profile. And ever since then, it's just been magic.
What a great business lesson that I just relearned is go to where your niche is, go to where your passion is. You found it, because a lot of people don't do it. I'm going to keep working with, nothing wrong with plumbers, because, but if you're not passionate about, you're not helping the plumber, you're not helping yourself. I love that lesson there. Write that down, audience. Something I found in your stuff is, I'm loving this. I'm going to borrow it. Your motto is connect, create, contribute. How did that get started? And what's that mean to the audience?
So I lost my brother in 2021. My brother, Kevin, we were very close. And at the time we were talking on the phone while he was sick in the hospital. And while he was in the hospital, Steve, the most remarkable thing happened. This guy who essentially was on his deathbed was talking about his dreams. He was talking about, I want to be a gamer. I want to start a YouTube channel. I'm like, what? Like, dude, you're like in critical condition. But that motivated me in so many different ways. And I closed the faucet on the current format of my business. As I was sitting there, I said, you know what? I got to really get a hold of my time. I created this exercise called the Joy Audit, where I just looked at my blocks of time and where I was putting it. But it was so busy and jumbled that I couldn't make sense of it until one day I was making a sandwich and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, create. I'm not making a sandwich. I'm creating. Having coffee with my wife. I'm not having coffee with my wife. I'm connecting. when I'm going into work with my clients, I'm not just going to work with a client, I'm contributing. And right then I knew that that's the way I needed to live my life, not just because my brother passed away and I was trying to get a greater understanding of where I was putting my time, but because I want to be intentional with every moment that I have as I'm walking this earth.
Uh, I'm rarely speechless. First off, sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Second thing, what was your brother's name?
Kevin Nathaniel.
Shout out to Kevin, because Kevin, look what you've done with your brother. Sorry, getting a little emotional here, because
Yeah.
that is where business starts from. That
Yep.
passion, and unfortunately, is the death of your brother, but you're living his legacy, and I'm a big legacy guy. That's really cool. Connections. How do you foster that through your work?
Well, in 2024, I gave a TED talk, which was a big deal for me, right? It was like this bucket list item on my list of things that I wanted to do. And when I went into it, Steve, I went into it like many business owners with an opportunist mentality. I was like, how can I make money? How can I leverage this to increase my audience and all of these things that were going through my mind. And I went in to give my first pitch of my show, of my talk, and the organizer was like, that's not it. He dug deeper and we started to talk, and it helped me to really unpack my story, but also unpack my message. And really it was rooted in human connection, how we end conversations, how we approach the contributions that we make day to day when we interact with people. Far too often, people operate in life like we're just checking boxes, right? Like, oh, woke up, get the kids ready, go back, let's restart it. When in fact, if we can just take a step back to reflect, analyze, but more importantly, be intentional of how we want people to feel, how we want people to operate and move when we interact with them, then it just makes life a little more fulfilling. So that's the foundation of human connection for me. In terms of where I am with my work, because my work is social media and digital marketing, in this AI era, I wanted to pour into the concept that we can in fact become more human because of this technology. And it's an oxymoron, right? When you say AI and you say human connection, or you say social media and human connection, oftentimes the people like those things don't match. When in fact, my ideas, my concept, my work is all about leveraging these tools to increase the way we connect online and essentially creating stronger human connection.
You're a brilliant guy, Robin. I'm much older. I'm not as smart as you, but I'm learning from you right now. The checkbox, and the reason I say it, I wanted a checkbox. That's something that's just kind of outside of it that we all do.
I
Wake
do
up,
it.
checkbox, yeah. So self-awareness is big to get away from checkboxes, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. And I think, hey, I always raise my hand, Steve, and I say, I'm guilty of all of this. I'm a work in progress. I have two young children. I have a 15-year-old and a 7-year-old. Sometimes they run amok. I make mistakes. I sometimes I raise my voice. I'm wildly imperfect. However, true human connection is the way we foster true human connection is showing up as our authentic selves. So where most people might delete that part of the message, for me, I want people to see it because I want them to see themselves in me. You can't really connect with an audience, with a client base, whatever you're trying to do for your business, unless you can walk in their shoes, see through their eyes, and know them better than they know themselves. And really, that level of human connection is what I strive for. I'm still a work in progress, but all of the work that I'm doing, whether it's my academic research or my new book that I just released, it's all about fostering those true human connections.
We're so aligned. We could be, I think you're probably 30, 34 years apart. We'll guess that. You're probably much younger than that. But we're so aligned and it's so much fun, isn't it? Connecting with people at that level.
It is, and my wife gets on me a lot, and I try to be very transparent because I want people to resonate with this. I have this issue where some of my in-person friendships, Steve, I don't do the best job. I have friends who maybe we've grown apart over the years because our paths are very different, and maybe the things we did together 10, 15 years ago are very different than what we're each doing today. And my wife gets on me like, you do really well with your digital relationships. I've built so many like strong, even me and you, Steve, right?
Yeah.
Like we've only had a digital interaction, but I feel like we're buds right now. We'll probably have more um, you know, conversations in the future. But what I want to urge people to do is cherish the in person connection. Use these digital platforms to lead towards a culminating in person event. I saw a podcast recently where two hosts of the show had always done the show remotely and never met in person. They went to an event and they like met in person for the first time after 2 years, Steve, being co-host on a show. And the guy said something that was really funny. He said, your hair is a lot lighter than it is on camera. You
Ah,
really get to see the true version of people when you
yeah.
get in person. So as valuable as this is, and I would never discount it, I believe the goal is that one day me and you, Steve, we sit down and we have coffee, we give each other a fist bump in person.
Amen. I mean, oh God, because I just listened to Gary Vee's podcast this morning. He was talking about that. It's just a different world. I mean, he's sitting there wearing a baseball hat 20 years ago. You would never speak to an audience with a baseball hat. And you speak, so it's just a different world. Yeah, we're gonna fist bump. I did a podcast twice last year in person, dynamic. But this is what's given to us right now. This is what we're going to work with. Um, let's jump into this. I'm so excited to talk about messaging misconceptions with nonprofits on social media. Yeah, it's good. No, stay away. It's the evil. Give us some enlightenment.
Well, folks in the nonprofit sector, and obviously I'm speaking generally here. There's probably tons of nonprofits that get it right. I think the YMCA, some of their chapters, they get it right. There are a bunch that do really good work on social. So I'm not trying to discount that. I would say though, the great majority, especially mid-size and small nonprofits, struggle with social media. And one of the reasons is because they don't necessarily have the resources to pour into it. And that's a big part of the challenge. So, in terms of messaging and why things can kind of get muddled online when it comes to nonprofits, a big part of it is right back to talking about checking those boxes. Stop treating social media like you're checking a box and look at it as a vehicle to deeply connect with your audience. People don't look at it as an opportunity in a lot of nonprofit spaces, Steve. And this is from a person not who just serves nonprofits because I did an audit and I realized those were my clients. It's also because for 10 years of my career, I worked in the nonprofit sector. I started off as a counselor at the entry level and moved all the way up to second in command at a $23 million nonprofit organization. So I understand from the bottom to the top what it takes to operate a successful nonprofit. And what I find with many of them is that there's this check the box syndrome where we meet about what social is going to be for next month. The majority is flyers for whatever fundraiser, event, or thing that we're promoting. And no one is taking time to say, what does the audience need and how can we use this as a vehicle to serve them? Once we flip that switch to look at it as not a one-way broadcast, but a two-way discussion, that's when the magic happens.
Powerful. Gary Vee said this morning too. It's funny, we're on this podcast. He was talking about this. He goes, we're out to the audience. How many of you do videos about ideology and what you do, nonprofits, about your message? And 7 of the 1,000 did. He goes, you're all missing. He goes, you should be doing 2 videos a day. I
Yep.
mean, and I'm right with that. And here's the thing, what you do, because I know people are going to come and go, I don't know how to do it. Yeah, you do. You got Robin here.
Yep.
If it's going to make you money and grow your nonprofit, like Gary Vee, who's one of the top dogs in the whole world, if you don't know how to do it, find somebody like Robin to do it. That's where I come from. Now, messaging from business for profit is much different than nonprofit. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think that it depends on the type of nonprofit. There are
Yeah.
nonprofits that operate with a for-profit model, right? And the line items of their budget might look a little different, but the day-to-day functions of their operations might look and feel like a for-profit organization. What I would say is that most for-profits, especially larger, even mid-size, prioritize marketing, where maybe with a nonprofit, if we have year to year success with marginal growth, right? So I know in my days working in the space that we would see mild increases, 2 to 5% in certain areas. And we'd say, like, let's run that play again. Don't mess with it because we're having slow marginal growth. No problem. We're happy with that because we're a nonprofit. Where in fact, if you adjusted some items, line items in your budget to prioritize social, to prioritize digital media, to prioritize paid ads, even, it could actually shift the entire focus of the business in terms of the new resources that you'll have to pour into it. So I think that's a part of private versus nonprofit that it's a great opportunity for nonprofits to learn from the for-profit sector with regards to allocating resources to social and digital marketing.
You know what's really cool what you just said? That works for any business out there. The plumber, the lawyer, you work with nonprofits. That's why I'm so excited that you're on. Everything you're saying is, hey, if you're listening, you're an entrepreneur and you're a business coach, same thing. It does not change. What you talk about obviously is going to be different, but that's the key. So let's jump in the creativity side. How do we help people, especially nonprofits? So I don't think nonprofits are very creative. Some of the stuff I've seen, you're laughing. Oh yeah. You're like, okay, that's quite interesting. How can they embrace that creativity?
I'll say that nonprofit professionals, in my opinion, are some of the most creative people on the planet. They have to get creative with how they manage their money to make sure that they can, breathe life into their missions. They have to figure out how they're going to pay people. They got to do arts and crafts with kids, depending on what the space is, right? But I would say to that, Steve, like you said, maybe the creativity does not translate to marketing. Maybe the creativity does not translate to social media. So what can they do? Like you said earlier, you could bring on a professional. I always tell people, you don't have to hire me, but just hire somebody. you don't have to hire me.
Yeah.
But if you believe in your mission and it's a priority for you, but also for the people you serve, and this is going to sound harsh, but I have to say it, Steve. If you don't prioritize and leverage the power of social in 2025, heading into 2026, in a way, it's selfish to the people that you serve. There's probably somebody in another state, another part of the city, another part of the world who needs your message. And I'm telling you, there's a device and there are techniques and strategies that you can use to actually touch those people. So to find creativity, I would lean in to the pain points of the audience and the people that you serve. What is the thing that's keeping them up at night? Far too often we think about demographics, but people aren't thinking about psychographics. Like, what's that thing that every couple of minutes the person kind of has a visceral reaction because that dark cloud is over their head? You find that thing, you create the answer through social, and that's where the creativity comes.
What comes to my mind is Martin Luther King's I Dream speech. I just I'm reading a book and they talked about that. Why can't a nonprofit, not that dream speech, but be impactful like that? Is he out there trying to make money, Martin Luther King? No, he's trying to impact thousands and millions of people, which he did. That's what nonprofit anybody should be doing with their social media, is make an impact, bring value, right?
Absolutely. What happens for nonprofit leaders, especially who have, it's a huge responsibility, especially if you have payroll. Like, it's tough if you're struggling to hit certain, goals and you have families that you're responsible for. So I understand that part of it. I would say use it as motivation. Like, a great leader that I used to work for, he used to have this little story about, a person needed to go to this conference or go to this event, but they couldn't go because their kid was sick or their mom was sick. And he turned around and he said, well, that's actually the reason you need to go. So for the nonprofit leader, you have all of these challenges. You don't have the resources for social. I can't hire somebody like Robin because we don't have resources. Well, you know what? That's the reason you need to. If you make that shift, and again, you don't have to hire me. It might be somebody on your team. It might be an intern. It might be you just putting the initiative, taking the initiative to find the person to fill that seat on the bus, and magic can happen. I've seen companies literally not be companies one night. Somebody posts a video and all of a sudden they have a business. There's so much potential, and to not try at this point, I think it's almost criminal, Steve. Like, we have to push these missions and these causes to the forefront using this vehicle.
I love that. Sorry, I keep saying I love that. I guess I love you. Honest, I'm telling you, I love this guy.
You know what, Steve? Hey, I love you too, man.
See, it's going, there's the gift back and forth. But what's interesting, I talked to a company a year ago, and their HR director said, "Hey, I love social media." Well, on the side, she did their social media. Didn't pay any extra. She didn't ask for any money. She just filled that void. It's the game changer right there. Oh, that's so brilliant. So here's the elephant in the room with social media. You probably know this, but I know I get asked this. What is the best platform to work with?
Man, you're speaking my language,
I
Steve.
do.
This is good. This is good. And I eat this stuff up. Like, hey, I'll let folks know. If you don't want to think about social, I think about it every day, all day. I've worked in every sector, nonprofit, private. I'm currently working in the public sector, helping local government. Like, I love and understand this game. Now, to answer your question, quite simply, if I could only pick one, right? I love a bunch of platforms. Some I like more than others. I'm not a big Meta fan. I'm not so big on Facebook, Instagram, but I understand the importance of them. So I leverage them for paid advertisements. But my favorite platform, and I think that some people don't view it necessarily as social, but it is so social media, is YouTube. And the reason I say YouTube is because they are with Google. So these are the two largest search engines on the planet right now. And then also, as the platform has evolved, it has taken on the identity of many of the social media platforms. So the same way that the TikTokification, as Gary Vee calls it, of social media occurred in 2020 with Instagram Reels, Snapchat, all of these kind of things, YouTube is doing the same thing. And then also the fact that, unlike the other platforms, and this is the golden nugget, if there was a reason to start a YouTube channel, this is it. Unlike the other platforms, when you post something on YouTube, it has a longer shelf life. Where on Instagram, if your video hits 500 views, it might hit 505 after that, after a few days, right? TikTok, sometimes we see a later push, but that was more in 2021. These days, it's a little harder. YouTube, on the other hand, we've seen videos published on YouTube that start out with modest numbers, a few thousand views, and a year will go by. A topic changes, something shifts, and all of a sudden that content is pushed back to the top of the algorithm. So I would strongly recommend folks prioritize YouTube. I have a bonus one, Steve. Can I drop that one on them?
Drop it on. Let's go.
Now, the new platform that I think that folks need to pay attention to, I wouldn't prioritize it over YouTube, but the second platform that I want to share with you, if you're not on it or aware of it, is Substack. Now, Substack started, I want to say 3 to 4 years ago, and it started initially as an answer to Medium, which Medium is a blog platform where you pay to read or you can read for free. Well, they took that model and included a email subscription piece where it's like a MailChimp, Constant Contact. So now they had these two pieces of a blog and an email service provider. And then in the last 2 years, they launched their Notes app. And that is within their ecosystem, and it serves as a social media platform. It's wild, Steve. It reminds me of like early Twitter, but it has the capability for videos as well as longer text. So there's not a character restriction. You can also go back and edit your posts, unlike Twitter and X. So if you haven't tried out Substack, even as a consumer, I would check it out, because for businesses who are not building an email list, I'm on a hilltop about that. If you want a free place to just start gathering emails, you can use Substack for that. So YouTube, and for extra credit, Substack.
And you can type newsletter, your email newsletter to Substack, and just go back and forth and crazy. That is brilliant. Man, audience, I hope you learned that. I just learned, I've seen Substack. I kind of play with it. I think I have a new job to do. We're going to have to talk, but we're coming to the end here. I was going to ask you what's the lays of grace in the future, and you just answered it. So you're in my head, which I love. Makes my job so much easier. But I want to ask this question: what's the future of Robin?
That's good. I'm really enjoying in-person events. I have a couple of speaking engagements this week, and I'm like hyped about it. And honestly, Steve, I have my first in-person podcast interview on Wednesday of this week at the time of recording this. So I think that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to continue the work that I do online with folks serving nonprofits and mission-driven organizations, but I also want to do more in person. Not just speaking events. I also want to come in and train teams. I want to train marketing teams. I want to share the frameworks and my philosophy. A lot of the stuff that I have is quite radical compared to the industry. And because it's rooted in algorithm proof content, not being like committed and working for the algorithm, but actually working for the people we serve. So that's what I want to do: connect in person with people and getting to those conference rooms and leading some trainings.
Starts with a servant's heart. He's ending with a servant's heart. This is beautiful. I'm going to end with a fun question. We've had so much fun, but I'm going to add to the fun. So I've got a reservation at a restaurant for you, table of 4. You're going to sit in one of the chairs. So you've got 3 empty chairs. Who's Robin going to invite, whether dead or alive, to converse, to get to know, to ask questions? And the most important question is, what food would you order for the table?
So we talked about my brother, and even though I met him, a part of the story I didn't include, Steve, is that my brother served 20 years in prison. So before he passed away, he had only been a free man for probably about 7 years after serving 20 years in prison. So I didn't really get a chance to fully connect with him the way I'd like to. So I would invite my brother Kevin, to the table. The other seat, I would invite my brother Christopher, who I also lost. He passed away of a brain aneurysm in 2020. He was younger than I am today, and he passed away like suddenly and out of the blue. Healthy guy. And again, we never got to really hang out as an adult. Like I never got to hang out with him. And then last, just because I got to keep the memories going, my mother, Matrona Saunders, who passed away in 1995. I'm older than she was when she passed away at my current age. And I would just love for her to see everything that I've done. She was a small business owner, and I didn't realize it until much later in my life that all of my um, entrepreneurship stuff, all of my like small business stuff really came from her. She was an immigrant with a 4th grade education who built a small business, was a homeowner in Brooklyn, New York, where it was almost impossible for people to do that. So she was an inspiration to me. And for that reason, I'd love to just sit down. And of course, what we would eat, because my family is Trinidadian from the West Indies, we would eat some curry goat, maybe some oxtail, and some peas and rice.
Well, I've never done this 700. Well, I've done this probably 500 times. I'm gonna add 2 more chairs. One, I would love to meet your brothers and your mom, because if they're like you, it'd be an incredible table, just full of joy and love. But I want to bring Gary Vee in so we can ask him questions. I would do that. I think I've never done that before, but I'm going to add to that because I think that would be an incredible table. And learning your story, you're amazing because you have this joy about you. And I just got to say on my podcast, I really appreciate that because it's easy to go behind a rock. I've lost mom, my 2 brothers, very young, but you're inspired by I'm going to guess, inspired by them to keep moving forward and just give love to other people. And from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate that. I know you got a gift for my audience, but also too, how can people reach out to you and connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is through the gift. So what
Okay.
I'm going to do is I'm going to give your audience a free preview to my book, which is called Social Media Sync, a framework for intentional human connection in the AI era. It's available on Amazon. So if you want to go get it, that's great. Please, and leave us a review because we need more Amazon reviews. But I'm going to give you a free preview, which would include the intro, the foreword, as well as the whole first chapter of the book. And also, I'm going to give your audience 2 free ebooks for social media. So it's some actionable stuff that they can put into practice right now. And last but not least, in that same bundle, which I'm calling the Social Media Sync bundle, they'll also get a free checklist to help them with social media. Now, to claim that gift, all you have to do is visit landthetalk.com, landthetalk.com. It'll also put you on my email list, which is hosted on Substack, and you'll get access to my email. So once you get the email, just respond, "Hey, I saw you on Steve's show." That would mean the world to me because I want to keep up with folks that I connect with through the podcast, and that's how they get their free gift.
Atlanta Talk, I went through it before the show. It's got a lot of information there. It is full of value. My God, thank you again for being an incredible guest. God bless you and being very transparent, open. It's great. With that being said, audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel. But here's why I have 10,000 subscribers. I love you all. But what's more important than that is the impact. And you're listening to this and you go, my cousin has a company or a nonprofit that needs help. Well, share this podcast with them. That's a gift. And they listen to Robin and go, holy mackerel. Maybe they reach out, maybe they don't, but we can impact people with these podcasts. And it doesn't have to be my podcast. If you've seen Robin on another podcast, share that. Let's use these as gifts to make a difference in the world. We all do that. I think the world will be a better place. With that being said, me and Robin want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.